Illusions in the Glass Menagerie by Matthew Taylor. What is illusion? Throughout this play, the characters are tempted toward illusion when they find reality too painful. This quote is saying that when the characters in the play discover problems in their life or just pains in their life that they don't want to deal with, they create illusions to live in, to live a happy, peaceful, what they feel is a normal life. Illusion is something that looks or seems different from what it is, something that is false or not real, but that seems to be true or real. It's an incorrect idea, or an idea that is based on something that is not true. So what would living in illusion mean? Living in illusion would mean instead of living in and embracing your reality, you would live a life based on your own self-generated ideas about who you are and how your life is. Of course, these self-generated ideas would be based on your own perception of reality. So in essence, you would just be living a lie that you've convinced yourself is actually the truth. Illusions in the Glass Menagerie. Amanda's illusion is trying to relive her past and her memories through her daughter Laura. Laura's illusion is an illusion of false reality that eventually becomes her actual reality. Tom's illusion is an illusion of escape and that he will be free from responsibility and his family if he leaves his house. Amanda's illusion. Amanda, the mother in the Glass Menagerie, is a headstrong and independent, yet fragile and troubled woman who has trouble showing her emotions because of her past. Because of the emotional pain she feels from her past and from her husband leaving her, she tries to hide behind a wall of anger, frustration, and almost emotional absence. This causes her to be a very harsh mother who almost doesn't seem to care for her children. However, she actually does care about them and only wants the best for them. But because of this wall that she has to put up, it causes her to not be able to really show that. Amanda believes that she can somehow relive her past by retelling the stories dozens of times and recreating the events in her mind over and over. One Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain, your mother received 17 gentlemen callers. Why, sometimes there weren't chairs enough to accommodate them all. This quote is from Amanda telling one of her stories over again for after several times telling it so many times that her children both knew exactly what story she was telling as soon as she started, but they would still let her continue so she could still relive those memories. She also tries to live vicariously through her daughter Laura. She tries to do this by pushing Laura into business college, hounding her about gentlemen callers and getting a husband, and just being in general an overbearing mother. In doing this, she's trying to make her daughter who she herself wishes she could be, and she's also trying to get her daughter to do what's best for her. The downside to this is that it pushes Laura farther and farther away and causes her to withdraw into herself, just increasing her almost cripplingly shyness. Laura's illusion. Laura, the daughter in the Glass Menagerie, is a fragile and painfully shy woman who had a childhood illness that was a significant factor in her extreme introversion. This childhood illness caused one of her legs to be shorter than the other, leading to Laura having to wear a brace to make up for the difference and allow her to walk right. Because of this brace, she walked with what she called a clump, and she believed everyone could hear it. In reality, it was only her that could hear it, but because she felt that everyone could hear it, she was self-conscious about it, so self-conscious to the point that she dropped out of high school. This self-consciousness and shyness followed her with when she went to business college, and because she was so self-conscious and so worried what people would think of her and embarrassed, it just overwhelmed her, caused her to throw up on the floor and have to drop out of business college as well. I'll just imagine he had an operation. The horn was removed to make him less freakish. Now he will feel more at home with the other horses, the ones that don't have horns. This is a quote from a point in the play when Laura and Jem are dancing together. They bump into the table and knock off the glass unicorn that she had set on the table. When it falls off the table, the horn breaks off. So not only is she talking about the unicorn feeling less freakish and fitting in with the other normal horses, she's also talking about herself. Because of disease that she had that left her defected with a brace on, she never socialized with other people and she was never treated like a normal person. She always felt like an outcast or a freak. So now, because Jim was treating her like a normal person, she was able to open up and get away from her self conscious, introverted ways and feel like more of a normal person and feel like maybe she would fit in with the other normal people. Because of her defect and these other reasons, she was left unable to face the outside world, and she lives in an illusion of false reality that eventually becomes her actual reality. In this false reality, she feels that she doesn't have to associate with the outside world. She can just stay at home, listen to her Victrola, and spend all her time and devote her heart to these glass figurines that she collects and cares for. Because even though no one actually did judge her, she feels like everyone was judging her. So she feels like these glass figurines are her true friends because they don't judge her or insult her or criticize her. Tom's illusion. Tom, the son in the glass menagerie, is a poet who is stuck in a boring job at a warehouse because he has to support his mother and sister due to his father walking out on the family. Tom is an adventure-hungry poet who's stuck working a dead-end job at a warehouse to support his family because his dad walked out on them 17 years ago. He doesn't have any adventure or excitement in his life. He goes to work early in the morning, he gets off work and goes to see movies, goes to a bar, comes home, goes to sleep, and repeats that same process every day. The movies are his escape. The adventures in the movies are what he tries to live through. He goes to the movies every single day to try and get some sense of adventure, some sense of excitement in his life that's just a dull, boring, repetitive routine. He wants to escape his current situation and have more adventure and less responsibility, so he lives in an illusion of escape and freedom. He thinks that he can escape through the adventures in movies and eventually just escape all of it by leaving and becoming a merchant sailor. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something. It always came upon me unawares, taking me altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a familiar bit of music, perhaps it was only a piece of transparent glass, tiny transparent bottles in delicate colors, like bits of a shattered rainbow. Then all at once my sister touches me on the shoulder. I turn around and look into her eyes. Oh, Laura, Laura, I tried to leave you behind me, but I am more faithful than I intended to be. This quote is from Tom after he's left home and he's a merchant sailor, traveling from city to city, walking down the streets and passing shop windows. When he sees these glass bottles and transparent glass items and hears bits and pieces of music, and each time he hears these or sees these things, it just brings back a flood of memories and feelings and emotions from his past in his home with his mother and his sister. And in this moment in the play, in this moment in Tom's life, even though he's physically escaped his home and he is in another city, maybe thousands of miles away, he realizes that no matter where he goes, no matter how many times he sails from port to port or travels to different places, he will always be held emotionally and mentally captive by this time in his life when he was in this situation with his family and this moment in his life that he's always trying but never will successfully escape. In conclusion, with the sailor brother we enter the poor home his memory recreated. We inhale the honeysuckle of his mother's southern recollections. We overhear her steady, soft-voiced scoldings, and understand her exasperation. We meet the crippled sister, too. She is a girl who lives in her dreams, summoned by the music of her Victrola recordings and the small glass animals in her collection to which she has given her heart. The sister is painfully shy. She is denied by the self-consciousness her braces have forced upon her. This is a quote from one of the critical articles, and it's basically a summary of each of the characters. It starts with talking about Tom once he's a merchant sailor, and his memories are recreating this whole play. So this shows that even though he feels like he's escaped, he's still living in that illusion of escaping freedom because mentally and emotionally he's still held captive by that time in his life, and he will never escape that. And then it talks about his mother's steady scoldings and her exasperation, all this due to her constantly living in the past and trying to escape that and live through her children and scold them constantly, trying to make them what she wants them to be. And then it talks about the crippled sister who is painfully shy and denied life because of her self-consciousness from her childhood defect in the braces, which led her to live in her dreams from the music of her Victrola and her small glass animals, like the quote says here, which she has given her heart. She devotes all her time into that and not into actually participating in the reality around her. Throughout the play The Glass Menagerie, the characters try to escape who they are, or try to escape the reality of their lives by creating illusions, some more severe than others, that they can live in as an alternative to their realities, so they can feel as if they are actually living the life that they want to live instead of the life that they've just been stuck in. In the end, in one way or another, the characters are forced to deal with this issue of illusion and embrace their actual realities.